Your ancestors chased prey for kilometers, motivated by dopamine to get the reward of survival. You chase notifications for seconds. Same brain chemistry, completely different world. And product managers know exactly how to exploit this. Just a small remark here. I try to understand the role of dopamine in a way that can help me explain this content, but I'm not a professional specializing in the topic. If you want to learn more about dopamine itself, take a look at the channels that I'm going to leave in the description. The dopamine story. For thousands of years, dopamine worked like this. It was released in anticipation of a reward, immediately decreased to motivate us towards action, and then reinforce the behavior based on whether you got what you expected or not. Dopamine gets you moving towards the deer and helps your brain learn whether the hunt approach was worth repeating or not. Now, the reward is served on a plate with minimal effort. Your brain still releases the pleasure chemicals when you taste the food, but dopamine trained you to expect easy rewards. We are literally training our brain to seek effortless gratification. 3 examples of modern manipulation. Motivation, from going to the supermarket or going to restaurants to food delivery apps. Connection. Instead of meeting friends and creating connections, we are relying on social media apps. Within romance, instead of following a courting process, we are now relying on dating apps. What goes on behind the curtain? The Hooked revolution. In 2014, a book called Hooked became the secret playbook for product managers everywhere. It taught us how to create habit-forming products by using something known as variable reward scheduling. Basically, making rewards unpredictable to keep users coming back. Actually, I have the book right here. I think, yeah. It's this how to build habit-forming products. There is some really good learnings in here, but I feel like it's the recipe how to create good tobacco without thinking about how nicotine is affecting our human brain. So the variable reward psychology. All of this comes from a research performed by B.F. Skinner. Burroughs Frederick Skinner. Weirdest name I've ever heard. He was an American psychologist, behaviorist, inventor, and social philosopher. He is best known for his research on operant conditioning. I took a look at the paper yesterday, but it was, let me check, a 792-page research. Operant conditioning is a learning process where our behavior is being reinforced based on some consequence. It can be a positive consequence or it can be a negative consequence. Sometimes a negative consequence can be no consequence at all, which means indifference. The experiment consisted in putting pigeons in a box. I think it was called the Skinner box, from what I remember from reading the paper. The pigeon would have to pick on a disc in order to get a reward. The birds were kept at a weight where using food was still motivating enough to consider it a reward. There were 2 types of reinforcement schedules that applied to this particular case. Whenever the pigeon picked that disc, it would get a reward, which means a piece of food. I'm gonna call it variable reward because variable ratio won't stick in my mind. Whenever the pigeon was picking that disc, sometimes it would get a reward, that means a piece of food, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes it would have to pick many more times. When the pigeon didn't know when that reward was coming, first of all, it was twice as engaged in the activity. It means it was picking twice as much for the same amount of rewards. And second, whenever there was no more food coming out, the bird with the fixed ratio would take between 200 and 300 picks to stop expecting, to give up. I checked this within ChatGPT because I couldn't find a specific number on the paper. It would take the bird in the variable reward setup 5 times as much to stop picking to expect a reward, which means the bird was going kind of cuckoo. And this is the information that was collected in here. Everyone knows how to keep you more engaged and hooked into that app, but no one knows about the consequences of what this causes. What's the impact on your mental health? And this is the same technique that is applied to you and to me through any kind of apps out there. Just like slot machines, apps now use intermittent rewards to keep us engaged. Sometimes you get likes, sometimes you don't. Sometimes there is a message, sometimes there isn't. Your brain stays motivated because it doesn't know when the next reward is coming. And each of those unpredictable rewards releases a higher peak of dopamine. I need to tell you something. As a product manager, I track everything you do. Every scroll, every pause, every hesitation. And here's the thing. We use patterns to drive business metrics, not because we're evil, but because we are optimizing for engagement and revenue metrics without fully understanding the long-tail problem of some decisions. Should you hate product managers because of that? Not at all. Product managers are typically the kindest people you'll ever meet. They care about their users. They just want to make their users happy. However, there are some situations where a business is pressing to do something that presses you to make a decision that is not necessarily what you would morally consider acceptable. There is a lack of knowledge to what happens when this is performed. It's like the people who used to promote cigarettes or to promote the use of alcohol for driving. Do you think the marketers that were doing that were evil people? They were just trying to move a business metric. They didn't think this was going to cause car accidents or that it was going to provoke lung cancer. It is when you develop this awareness that you start doing some pushback in these type of initiatives. But it's not the case for every single company. The pattern recognition. Multiple selfie attempts without posting equals, what could it be? Can you guess? Vulnerability signal detected. This is serious stuff. The business logic. Lower confidence moments equals higher conversion rate for beauty products. I don't know if you know the story of Meta's former executive, Sarah Wynn-Williams. She's considered as the whistleblower of what was going on with Meta. She explained how the company was identifying vulnerability patterns to increase makeup and beauty product sales. And I think the target group of this was teenagers. I'm still surprised about how people don't talk about it. Another thing that Instagram does, for example, maybe the only reason why you want to log into the app is because there is a message from someone, there is a like that you received from someone. Just look at this case with mine. I have no Instagram friends. I only created Instagram to promote this particular channel because I found Instagram to be particularly unhealthy for me. And the thing is, I have new notifications, but then I continue, and when I logged in, I check those notifications, and there's nothing. There's just the fact that someone posted something. This is keeping me in the loop. The anticipation of new notification was like, ooh, did I get a like? Did I get a message? Thing is, I know I don't get anything. I'm not an important person on Instagram. No one gives a crap about my Instagram. But if I did, and I was used to using Instagram for connection, I would have just anticipating a reward and end up going in for nothing. And this is gonna keep me craving this variable reward cycle when I'm gonna keep checking all the time in the hopes of a message or a like. Things are getting juicy now. Matches are deliberately unpredictable. Sometimes you get several, sometimes you get none. Sometimes you start a conversation without knowing it's an AI bot. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. Me as well. Uncertainty keeps dopamine engaged, driving continued swiping behavior until you've depleted all of your dopamine reserves. Business logic, help me out in here. Longer engagement in a dating app equals, what is it? More conversions into a premium subscription. The unintended consequence? Users develop app dependency whilst becoming less comfortable with real-world interaction. One thing that you can do here is start talking to people out there. Go into offline experiences, enjoy the world, talk to people. The setup, posting content regularly without knowing how many likes you'll get. Unpredictable engagement keeps you checking again and again. The pleasure response. Each like gives you a little bit of pleasure. Your brain enjoys social validation. You're making your ego happy. The dopamine roll. Uncertainty about when likes will come keeps motivation high for posting and checking. The pleasure from the likes is real, but the behavior being reinforced, posting for unpredictable validation, doesn't create genuine connection. It makes you feel hollow. Then 2020 happened. Do you remember? Locked in our homes, digital became the primary source of pleasure and social connection. Our motivation systems adapted to these variable digital rewards because they were the most engaging experiences available. There was nothing else to do. Limited reward sources equals stronger formed habits. Lasting impact? Even post-pandemic, our brain still expects easy digital rewards. People started feeling genuinely terrible. Just look at the search trend. The so-called dopamine detox trend wasn't random. It was people trying to retrain their motivation systems in order to work with predictable, long-term rewards again, instead of being constantly driven by variable reward schedules. There's no such a thing as dopamine detox. The dopamine is still there. You just need to retrain yourself to what it is that motivates you, what kind of efforts you're releasing dopamine for. Creating content requires consistent efforts but unpredictable rewards. Well, there's almost no reward in it. Most of the likes that I get are from my family or friends who just wanna make me feel good for a moment. It is that pathetic. Like on my last video for the first time, I got likes that didn't come from my family. How did I know that? Because they hadn't watched the video yet. They just watched it yesterday. So I knew it was coming from people who actually enjoyed the video, and it made my day. The moment I started receiving comments and started receiving likes, it was like fireworks for me. It's not like I have nothing else going on in my life, but I started YouTube with the intention of trying to help someone else, to deliver the content that I was looking for and I couldn't find. And because nothing was happening whenever I was posting a video, I learned to be driven by the process rather than the reward. Yeah, it still makes my day, but kind of doing the video is also making my day. It puts me in a very awkward phase. I feel like I'm going back to student times. It makes me feel like I'm learning something new. But I cannot deny, like, the moment I received those 3 comments last week, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was so happy, like, it made my day. Even if one person could find something valuable in something I did, in something I shared, I was happy. I was gonna be happy for the rest of my life, for having taken all of those days to create that video. Because it meant that someone had found something useful in it. The irony about this, when success came in unpredictable spikes, I started freaking out. It felt overwhelming because I wasn't used to it. I wasn't expecting it. My motivation system had adapted to very little or nothing. Learn to identify when apps are using variable reward schedules to keep you engaged. Second, predictable rewards. Rather than going to an app to get a reward, create your own reward system outside of the apps. Third, emotional state awareness. Check your emotional state before making decisions driven by unpredictable reward systems. Also, limit the type of activity you do within each app. I don't know if you saw what happened on Facebook yesterday. It kind of made me feel pretty uncomfortable. I don't want to get political in this channel, but using social media for political content is not really a fair game. There's things that should have boundaries. Whatever your political choices are, just research them somewhere else. When you're on social media, it's not about the right ideas. It's not about a specific campaigns. It's about who's spending the most money to share some ideas. So make your own choices and try to make those outside of social apps. So the feature is an opted-in notification that says suggest political content. If this is on, you may see political content from accounts you don't follow. If it's off, we won't suggest political content when we recognize it. It doesn't show the toggle, it showed a small notification, and then you were clicking it, you were able to see the toggle and it's on. How do you turn it off? You just go into the notification, you click it, and you turn it off. With all the information that social media has, it is really easy to manipulate people. I'm not saying you're easy to manipulate, you just need to be aware that it's very easy to manipulate someone on social media. It is super easy to go down a rabbit hole. And just the way that this feature was defined, it creates a cognitive bias against status quo. That means we need to change something that was preset from before. So it's motivating me not to change it. By enabling this type of features, basically, people get an emotional reaction. They need to feel like they need to engage. More engagement means people will spend more money on those campaigns because they see that they work. You should form your own opinion about what you think about this. 4. Business model understanding. Remember that engagement-driven apps profit from keeping you uncertain and coming back. Tell me, if a dating app was making successful matches, would users keep coming back? Would people see enough ads? Would people keep purchasing the premium subscriptions? Just be aware of the maneuvers that are going on so that you don't feel self-conscious or deflated when interacting with them. Just know this is a game. I am part of that game. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the business model. Just be aware of this before you feel any way about your success or performance on dating apps. There are additional and interesting things going on in here, but I'll leave that for another video. 5th, objective decision making. When you feel compulsively drawn to check an app, ask yourself, am I being driven by uncertainty or actual need? This is something that therapists ask you when you keep coming back to a specific behavior that you repeat over and over. What is the need that this is covering for me? What is the need that I'm expecting from this? And then ask yourself truly, am I ever going to get that need fulfilled from this app? If not, what am I waiting for? You need to redirect your attention. I'm not saying that you quit the app. You don't have to quit any app, but perhaps start putting your effort elsewhere. You have two paths here. You can remain unaware of how behavioral patterns are being tracked and monetized, or you can develop the awareness to make conscious choices about how and when you engage with those apps. And most importantly, how you allow those apps to make you feel. Set yourself some small challenge that requires effort. Make it achievable. Once you complete it, treat yourself. Give yourself a reward. Treat yourself to something positive and smile. Your brain will start to create neural pathways where you are training yourself to make an effort. And also your brain will start associating that effort with you feeling happy. That's how I tricked a friend of mine into outdoor gardening. And I think now she likes it. Or she will hate me right after viewing this video. Hopefully not. Sending love. Do something that is more applicable to a slow life. Make a puzzle. Grow up plant cutting, like I did. It looks like it's happy. I even turned classical music to it. But in reality, I enjoy it more than the plants do. Whatever you can think of, but do something related to a slow life. I have made every mistake there is when trying out these things. I can be very bad at it as well. Just be patient. Stop trying to complete those goals through apps. If you want connection, call a friend or meet up with them. Don't look at your phone while you're meeting with them. Have an authentic conversation where you're listening and paying attention to what they're saying. Ask them about their life. Ask them about how they are doing. If you are looking for a romance, join a new hobby. Join an activity. Get to know people. Or just talk to people. I think Berlin can be a little bit tricky to talk to people randomly in the street, but you can even meet a lot of people on meetups, on events, on different activities. There's meetup groups for almost everything at this point. Rather than expecting food upon clicking a button, go to the supermarket, go to a store that is further away to prepare something exotic. Put yourself on a mission of doing something that is out of your comfort zone when it comes to food, and give yourself a reward right after you find that ingredient. I know, give yourself a chocolate like Sheldon Cooper was giving Penny. You'll appreciate it even more when you finish cooking it. At the beginning, it's gonna feel awkward. You're gonna be like, why did I do all this effort for just a couple of minutes of eating it? Don't expect to get this huge fireworks. It's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be like, well, I ate. What now? Instead, cherish the moment. Pay attention to the smell, pay attention to the taste, pay attention to the texture, pay attention to the way you present the plate. Prepare yourself a nice tablecloth. Use a fabric napkin rather than a paper napkin. If you cannot do it, then use whatever you can, but try to make yourself feel like you are the prize. Don't just try to do it like it's a transaction. Enjoy the process. Play some nice music, play something different, and start enjoying the process. With some video about how to cook like a pro, or some master chef something, and try to enjoy the process. You'll start training your brain to expect more long-term rewards. And when you reward yourself at the end, you'll be training yourself to want to do it again. The final truth. Product managers aren't villains. In most cases, they are the kindest people you've ever met. We are optimizing for metrics that don't always align with user well-being, but we are not aware of this. The solution isn't to avoid technology, but to understand how it works so you can engage with it consciously rather than reactively. Is there a specific app that you tried that has this variable reward system? Write it in the comments, because I'm now curious. If this video made you think differently of app usage, that's the whole goal. Awareness is the first step towards a conscious choice. Subscribe if you want more insights into how product decisions shape user behavior. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks a lot and have a nice day.